What's going on, guys? It's Earth Smack the Mad Scientist from the Orange Phoenix Show. If you like our show and all of our content, please hit that like and subscribe button so you can get all of our notifications for all our live shows, our shorts, and all the videos in between. But for right now, I'm going to stop all my babbling and let's get on with today's show. Yeah. What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Earth Mac, the Mad Scientist,
and Vivo.
This is the Orange Phoenix Show, and today we are going right into some fighting games that is forgotten, that is like in the vault. We haven't seen any like re-releases, remasters, or sequels, or new games coming out. And Vivo, it's a good bit because honestly, this year kind of put me in that mode where, okay, Street Fighter 6 just got released not too long ago. Mortal Kombat 1 gameplay was released today, actually, if I'm not mistaken. And Tekken 8 is coming out this year. So the FGC community, the FGC is eating good. Like, our plate is full right now. I mean, how you feel about that?
I would tend to agree. And, you know, when we were looking at the list of fighting games in general, there are definitely ones over the years that have proven their staying power, because they were out when, you know, I was a little kid, and I don't want to date myself, but
I have no shame. I'll say like this, like with Street Fighter 2 will forever be the staple in fighting games. I mean, World Warrior started this journey. Even though the Street Fighter 1, that was not really the first one-on-one. You had Ken and Ryu, and that game is very difficult to play. If you get the 30th anniversary edition and you play Street Fighter 1, yeah, you will realize, yep, it's pretty difficult. Now, Street Fighter 2 World Warrior, that really started everything. I mean, and then KOF and Fatal Fury and stuff like that. And I was pro KOF, I'm not even gonna lie. Because I thought the story was richer, and you had to play with certain characters, three characters to get a certain ending. And I'm like, okay, I never seen that in a fighting game. But Street Fighter 2 is definitely top tier, or Street Fighter franchise is top tier. But that's mainstream stuff. We talking about the stuff that's kind of like offshoot. We stuff by Capcom, Hudson, Konami.
I feel like Konami and Capcom should be mainstream because their games are awesome. Yeah.
Namco too.
Yep.
Namco got some good stuff, man. So going right into it, the first game is I feel like that should be the first game we touch. I say we touch on Primal Rage. Primal Rage, ladies and gentlemen. So I gotta pull this up, man. So Primal Rage came out in the 90s for the Sega Genesis. I want to say that was on SNES too, right?
I think so.
Yeah, it was on 3DO, 32X, Jaguar, CD, Game Boy, Game Gear, MS-DOS. It went on PlayStation 2. The first release was 1994. And I had it on the Sega Genesis. And I mean, I was pro Genesis and all that. But I'm telling you, man, Primal Rage was that heat. It was extremely violent. And I think they were trying to pull off from...
awesome.
Yes. Yeah. It tried to pull it from Mortal Kombat and Eternal Champions, but actually Chaos was actually a pretty good character.
Yeah. I feel like my
Oblivion.
sister always mained Chaos when we played.
Why did she main Chaos? You think because of the King Kong vibes?
I don't know. Like some of the characters that resonated with her, I would just be staring at her like, why? Okay.
Exactly. I mean, I forgot the character's name that I played with, but it was like a serpent type of character, but it had range. Like whenever it was striking, it didn't strike halfway across the screen, but I was able to reach the opponent or whatever. But I absolutely love the game, but I always got it on rental though. I never had the game like in house. It always was like an Ace Video or a movie
Yeah.
gallery or Finkley's, what they
Is
used to
that the
call it.
one that you played as?
Yes, Vertigo.
Yep.
Vertigo. That's it. Vertigo. And listen, I was whooping ass with Vertigo. I'm not even gonna lie. Vertigo
Yeah, I
was
always
on
played
point.
as Talon, which was like the Velociraptor type, or there's more than one Tyrannosaurus Rex
Yeah.
type character, but I played as one of them too. What was its name?
Diablo?
Wait, which one is this one? Yes, Diablo. Yep.
Diablo? Yeah. Diablo got worked on that one. But yeah, I mean, Diablo was the other one. So Vertigo, Diablo, and maybe Chaos, the one I was actually using. But I actually enjoy Primal Rage for what it is. And I'm surprised that the most recent release was 1996. And that was on the Sega Saturn.
Was it re-released or was that a sequel? I thought that they were supposed to be coming out with a sequel to that, but they never did.
Yeah, from what I understand, it was on PlayStation 2 in 2004. A mixture of Atari, Midway, and Williams titles. It was part of like this collection.
Okay.
And I know it got released to the 3DO, and I know obviously it's updated graphics and stuff like that, but there's no more Primal Rage. I mean, if we want some Primal Rage, we got to go back, and get some emulators and knock that stuff out. But
I mean, it was an entertaining game for the time. I mean, shoot, it would probably even still be entertaining to play it now, even with the old claymation type graphics.
I would enjoy it. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
not even gonna hold you. I would thoroughly enjoy it. But moving on, man, we got to jump into. I feel like I've been asking for this game for the longest, and it's by Capcom. And there was two games actually. It was one for PlayStation. It was multi-disc.
Okay.
And there was a sequel that was on Dreamcast, and it was called Project Justice. But the game I'm talking about is Rival Schools. And so you haven't played this game, correct?
I have not.
Okay, so with Rival Schools, if you're familiar with Marvel vs. Capcom, you know, the tag in, tag out.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's why I like God of High School so much, because it reminds me of Rival Schools. So in Rival Schools, you had these different schools, and it was teams of three, and it was like martial artists. Wow. Whether it was boxing or baseball, it was or the Kendo Club, it was all Japanese, and you could tag out like between rounds. But you had these vigor attacks, which is like your super attacks, and then you got the team up mode too, where you can actually do a tag team super move. But it also had a story alongside it. Batsu was on Tatsunoko versus Capcom, which I wish they did another one of those. But Batsu was part of that, the Capcom side, obviously.
Okay.
And hopefully we might see Batsu in Street Fighter 6, maybe. But I absolutely love this game. And there was like a little story mode too, like mini games and all this other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen that in a fighting game, and I think this was ahead of its time.
I mean, even the battle stages look like they give you a lot of room to move around on compared to other fighting games that came out during that time.
Yeah. I know Street Fighter tried to do the 3D thing with Street Fighter EX. Can't stand it. But
they tried.
They tried. They get an A for effort. But Rival Schools, man, it was. I mean, you couldn't go in the foreground or background, but you know it was 3D characters, but it still had that Capcom feel. And they had these quirky characters, and everybody did something different. So I think that's what I really, really liked about it. Now, if you have a PlayStation 1 still, I would say go to your nearest retro store and get United by Fate Retro Schools, because it's a 2-disc, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
And Project Justice is the sequel, and it's the upgrade, and that's on Dreamcast, and I do have that. And it's just super, super awesome to have. But I mean, when I saw this, man, I looked the cover art, the box art is what got me. I mean, as you can see on to the listeners, you can see on the top, right up in here.
Yep.
Rival Schools United by Fate, but very, very good game. Why we don't have this? Why we don't have this? Capcom we have a very toxic relationship with Capcom. It's like they give us gems. They give us Resident Evil Remake. They give us Street Fighter. They give us Monster Hunter. And whenever Capcom does
that one.
Yeah. And whenever Capcom does a showcase, it's one of those three typically.
Uh-huh.
And we might want Rival Schools. We might want Darkstalkers, which was the big one. That was number one. And they did Capcom Fighting Collection. And all the Darkstalkers games are on there. They need to do another Capcom Fighting Collection and put Rival Schools on there and test the waters and see if that might bring people back.
Yeah. My favorite, I will say though that my favorite Capcom game, I don't even know if I want to call it but the Marvel versus Capcom, that was my favorite fighting game.
Oh, is it now?
Well, I won't say it was in my top 3 favorite fighting games, just because I loved the variety of characters you could choose from, and it was always a lot of fun.
Now, are you talking about Marvel vs. Capcom 2?
I played both of them.
Okay.
But I think 2 is the one I liked more, because 2 had what was his name? Dark. Wait.
Oh, you talking about
what was his name? Dark. It wasn't Darkheart. What was his name?
Darkheart. I think is it Darkheart?
No, it wasn't Darkheart.
I'm drawing blanks right now. Blackheart.
Now I gotta look it up.
Is it Blackheart?
Blackheart. Yep.
Yeah, Blackheart. I used to love fighting Blackheart, man. I was like, because he was very meaty, and like he just take damage. But when he's open, man, I was like, yep, I'm going in. I'm going in. It is
Spider-Man and Wolverine were also kind of. I remember them being kind of OP, especially if you really knew their movesets.
Magneto is OP.
Yep.
Magneto would put you in an endless loop if you caught in that. I've been caught in that a couple times, and you have to practice it though, because it's not like an automatic thing. You can drop that combo at any time. But if you're perfect with your button inputs, it's game over. Once you're caught in that corner and you in that endless loop, it's wrap. You might as well just put the controller down and wait for the next round.
Did you know that there was an X-Men versus Street Fighter game?
Yes, I had that game, and that game was straight up heat. Telling you, the music was on point.
I'm learning so many different or new things right now, just looking to... Where was I when this came out? This looks great. Okay, I'm gonna have to find that.
That was on PS1, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, it looks like it came out so it was initially released as an arcade game in 96, and then it was ported to Sega Saturn in 97 and PlayStation in 98. Oh yeah, I'm gonna have to find that one.
You gotta find that one. If you get Fightcade, you can get X-Men vs. Street Fighter, because Fightcade has X-Men vs. Street Fighter, Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter, Marvel vs. Capcom 2, like any other fighting games that the FGC plays, like Retro or whatever, then yeah, you can actually get that.
Okay. Ooh, I got homework. Yay.
Hey, I can't believe you never played X-Men vs. Street Fighter, man. That is... Wow, that's wild.
I don't know why I feel like... I swear I knew about it, but I'm seeing it on the screen. I'm like, did I? This is something that I should have known. So yeah. I'll find it and play it. Chances are I might have played it before. I just need to refamiliarize myself. So we'll see.
Yeah, no doubt. And now the next game up is something I haven't seen in a long time, and we probably will never ever see again. And that game is Bloody Roar, and it's not coming back. It's not coming back. it's a wrap after this. I mean, because the studio shut down. I think when they was going to release another one, it was like, nah, we're going to cancel that out. I'm like, man. So
it was so fun though.
Yeah, it was fast paced. Like it was. Okay, let's just put it out there. Virtua Fighter is the granddaddy of 3D fighting games. That's just what it is. If it wasn't for Virtua Fighter, we wouldn't have Tekken. But Bloody Roar was just a totally different thing, right? It was 3D fighting, but at the same time, you had a button to change it to an animal and fight as that animal for a certain period of time.
Yep.
And then you could knock people off the stage and stuff. And it was a little violent too. I mean, and it was fast paced. Like, I feel like we would be eating really good if we get another reiteration of Bloody Roar.
Yeah, but I agree.
And I'll be honest with you, I played it a couple times, but I never had this in my possession. Never had it.
Yeah, I mean, me neither. Usually it was a game that we rented. And I know I always played as the guy that turned into the wolf.
Yeah. I mean, wolves are cool, man. They're usually the best martial artists, Darkstalkers. But
you're like, shout out.
Yeah, shout out to the wolves out there. But I mean, it's sad that we will never see a Bloody Roar, man, because people talk about it. Like, people still talk about it. Like, yo, you remember playing Bloody Roar and stuff like that? And it's like one of those nostalgic memories because it came out for GameCube, PlayStation 2, and Xbox. The latest release was 2003, but the first release was 1997.
Okay.
But
yeah, I know that I probably played it for. It probably was either on Xbox or GameCube because I know I had both of those systems.
Yeah. And I think I always had it at a friend's house though. It's just someone had it and we was playing it, but
yeah.
I think honestly it was overshadowed by other 3D titles like Tekken for one and Soul Calibur. But I feel like Bloody Roar had a cult following.
But it's interesting though when you see games that come out like Bloody Roar, for example, was out around the same time as Tekken, but Tekken is the one that has proven its staying power, whereas Bloody Roar, we're talking about games that were forgotten, and it's like, so what worked for Tekken and why didn't it work for Bloody Roar?
Marketing. I feel like so I feel like with Virtua Fighter and Bloody Roar, Virtua Fighter should still be up there with Tekken, if not better. Mainly because of the marketing, but it was a Sega title. So when Sega went under, then Virtua Fighter probably went along with it. But Tekken has staying power because of Tekken 2 and Tekken 3, which was super popular. And people was just playing it because you had the demos on. You remember going to Pizza Hut and they had the demos, the PlayStation demos?
Yep.
And Tekken was on there at one point, so people was playing the demos and stuff. So it's like, dang, this game is that heat, and it just snowballed. It was a snowball effect. I feel like Call of Duty wouldn't be as popular as it is if it wasn't for the marketing. I mean, they did smart marketing. They had it on TVs, had celebrities playing it, sports figures and stuff like that. So I think that's what it is. I mean, and honestly, the company for Bloody Roar went under. So it's kind of like,
I'll just say, Call of Duty is a game that we can include on the list of games that were put down and have yet to be revisited.
Yeah. So funny story with Call of Duty, right? So I have a set of homeboys that actually play Call of Duty religiously. Like, we're like,
which
in the group
one?
text. The most recent one, the one that got the most recent one.
Oh. And
they only play Warzone. They don't play nothing else. They used to play Kill Confirm, and there was a rule: everybody get 10 tags. If you don't get 10 tags, you're trash. So that was it. Like, if you don't get 10 tags, it's a conference. It's some type of powwow. Like, hey, they call them out like, hey,
they're like, okay, we're gonna have this huddle in the locker room to explain why you in fact are trash.
Yeah, like why you do not have 10 tags. Why do you not have 10 tags? And we played this game for like 5-10 minutes around. You couldn't get 10 kills. You couldn't get 10 kills, my guy. Like, so stuff like that. But since Warzone came out, they don't even play multiplayer at all. It's like, unless they're just trying to upgrade a gun or get a gun quickly, that's it. They play Warzone and Warzone only. And I got one homeboy that only plays Call of Duty. I was like, you got a whole PlayStation 5. And
that's the only game you don't play.
You know what I'm saying? I look at him with judgment sometimes. I'm like, bro, you really wasting your money. And so when like every Call of Duty that comes out, no matter what, they're gonna copy it. They're gonna get it. So that's what it is. But
I used to be like that, but when it got to Advanced Warfare, well, I still played Advanced Warfare. What was the one after that?
Advanced Warfare, trash.
It was. That was the one where you first had the exosuits, right?
Yeah, you can sidewalk. You can walk on the side of the walls and stuff like that. You can
Spider-Man your way all over the map.
Yeah, that was not it. That was not it. I put it like this. When Battlefield Bad Company 2 came out, and I played it for the first time, for years, I stopped playing Call of Duty. Like I cold turkey that joint. I'm like, I can't go back to this because Battlefield got bullet drop. Battlefield is like, you can't hide behind the wall because I can blow up that wall while you standing behind it. So I can't go back to Call of Duty. I can't do this. So Battlefield went through this funny stage, and even with the most recent Battlefield, like you got patches and stuff, and this Call of Duty just took over because of the marketing. Battlefield don't have that type of marketing that Call of Duty has. And I feel like if they had the same type of marketing, then we'd be having a different conversation. But
yeah,
a lot of people say Call of Duty is better, but I'm like, have you played Battlefield? Like how realistic that stuff is? But
you know, like with me, I was so invested in Call of Duty that I never got into Battlefield. I did at one point try to get into Division, and I was just kind of like, I don't really like this.
Now the Division is actually pretty good though.
With the newer Call of Duties, I just kind of lost interest. I played I forgot which one it was that came out. Was it a new Black Ops? I can't remember which one it was.
New Black Ops with the zombies?
Yeah. I played the story mode because I always like play the story mode, which I did really like. But when it got to multiplayer, I was just kind of like, My favorite Call of Duty was Modern Warfare 2, the original, not the remake. That was terrible. So
that's the one with the airport, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The infamous airport.
Classic.
Or the neighborhood, the cul-de-sac.
Yeah, cul-de-sac. So my favorite is the Nuketown is my favorite map. I love Nuketown. And the airport. Those two are my favorite maps. Now Nuketown, it's just like the OK Corral, man. Everybody's bucking. And I like the first time, like, because the new Nuketown, I really do like it. But I like to play hardcore. And that's what I kind of learned from Battlefield. Like I like hardcore mode.
What was the map with? It was like a giant marsh.
And
it was like in the center. It had kind of like an underground dugout that you could run
I know what
through.
you're talking about.
Yeah, I also really like that map because there was. Oh my gosh, there was one match I was playing. When I tell you, I got close to 30 kills because I was just in my little sniper suit or whatever, and I kept changing. I was picking people off, and they got so angry,
raging, man, raging.
What I tell you, and then I went and hid in a house. And when I tell you, they kept coming up. The only reason why I ended up losing was because I ran out of ammo. I straight ran out of ammo.
Gotta get them peanuts, man. Gotta get the peanuts.
So mad.
So I learned this term in Battlefield because we're actually my friend's turn, and I used to love being a sniper, man. He was like, man, I gotta get them picnic baskets, and then he mean headshots. And like, gotta get them peanuts. It's so hilarious when he does it, man. He's like, clack, clack, clack. Gotta get them peanuts.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And it's hilariously good. But like Newtown, my first reaction is if I spawn in the corner, I'm chucking a grenade clean across the other side of the map because I know I'm gonna kill somebody. It's gonna land. I know I'm gonna kill somebody. And when I hear that little chain like ching 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 ching, and I'm like, okay, got him.
Either clear across the map or just throw it into the house because you know you're gonna get somebody that way too.
Because somebody's in the corner.
Yeah.
Somebody hanging out in that corner. Somebody camping. And another thing I like about Battlefield is that when you do those cinematic kills, you take their dog tags. Now that wasn't a Call of Duty original. That was Battlefield. Like you take somebody out, dog tags, and it'll show the person dog tags. Like, yeah, I got you.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I got it.
I really liked trying to get the kill streaks so that you could call in the special drops or whatever.
Yeah.
Those RCA cars.
With the bombs on them.
The C4s. And you know, like when you go in and they like show the kill cam and then just the player turns and looks and sees the car there
and they can do nothing. They can do nothing about it. It's too late.
They're like, well, I guess this is happening.
Man, I think that's also the fun thing about Call of Duty though. When you're in the public chat, I find the public chat hilarious because when I just play with randoms sometimes, and that's when I hop back on Call of Duty for the first time in years. That RC car was in play, and you would hear death coming. You would hear it. So, and I heard it was like, yeah. So I'm like, RC car, and then if I'm like doing this stuff right here, like looking around,
and they were fast as hell too. Like you couldn't run away.
You can't do nothing about that. I like the first thing. My instinct is that if I'm near a window, I'm hopping out the damn window. That's what I'm doing.
Either that or one exploded. Somebody exploded an RC car on one side of the wall, and it still killed me through the wall. And I was just like, really?
Cap. Yep. This is not it. This is not it. But yeah, so we're going back to like forgotten fighting games. Like this is another one. I feel like this is a gem. But recently they did a collector's edition, and it's on PS4 and Xbox. And the game I'm talking about is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Tournament Fighters.
Yeah.
For the SNES and the Sega Genesis. So, who was your main on
if it's anything Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle related, it's always Raphael.
Always Raphael. I think Mikey was my main. Yeah, Mikey was my main. And I started messing around with Donnie on it. I was like, oh, okay. Donnie got squabbles. All right, we in there. We in there. So the original console wars, right? SNES and Sega Genesis. In this version, even though I'm a Sega head, the Super Nintendo version was better. Mm-hmm. Like the colors was better. You had I wouldn't say more characters, but the characters kind of like made sense. Graphically, it just looked better. That is what it was. And so when the collector's edition came out, you have all the Ninja Turtle games that's, I wouldn't say ever created, but up until a certain time period, like all the Game Boy games, all the Nintendo games, all the Super Nintendo games, all the Sega Genesis games, the beat 'em ups, the fighters, all that in one big collection. I found myself playing the Super Nintendo version over anything else, mainly because of that shark. But yeah, I kind of like the shark too. So, but the gameplay was just super better. But
yeah,
there's a YouTube channel called Console Wars. Shout out to Console Wars, and you got one person. They're friends, like one person Sega, one person Super Nintendo, and they always compare the games graphically, musics, gameplay. Sometimes Sega wins, sometimes Super Nintendo wins. And this particular altercation, it was Super Nintendo. I had to agree. This is what it was. Have you ever beat this game?
No.
You Shredder. You Shredder. Shredder was also my main too. I really did love Shredder. Shredder was Shredder used to get in your ass. I'm just it's and it was Shredder. I think Rat King is after Shredder, and I think Kurai is after Rat King. I think. So
Okay.
when you think you beat it, you didn't necessarily beat it because you got another
Wait,
boss.
there's more.
Yeah, you got another boss to fight, and Rat King
Okay.
is not to be played with. That's just what it is. So, was this like a main staple in your house, or was it just something you played in your pastime?
Just something that I played
Oh, okay.
in the pastime. So
I mean, this should be a remake. I feel like if you make this as a 2D fighter, you have enough characters to actually play and DLCs. I like Mecha Turtle too. I did like that one. And I feel like this game will sell like hotcakes, especially with the last Ronin being out like in the past couple years.
Yep.
It kind of like the popularity came out, and obviously, the Ninja Turtles movie that's coming out with Seth Rogen and John Cena and Jackie Chan, stuff like that. I feel like you're in the right space to put out a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fighting game.
Yeah.
'Cause I'm getting it. I know you're gonna get it.
Yep.
Now, speaking of Ninja Turtles, now. Oh, go ahead.
When I was a kid, like I was into Winnie the Pooh and Ninja Turtles.
That's an odd combination.
It is, but it worked. So
That's odd.
my parents were like, "Okay."
Who's your favorite Winnie the Pooh character? Mine was Tigger. Tigger was just too hype.
Yes, Tigger, but I don't know. Like Tigger definitely, but I think I also really liked Piglet.
Yeah.
And Rabbit wasn't that much of a Debbie Downer. Rabbit was just living in reality. Whereas the rest of them were not.
Rabbit was the OG Squidward.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's Rabbit.
Yep.
When I see Squidward, I'm like, that's Rabbit from Winnie the Pooh. Like, he was so ornery. He's like, what are y'all doing?
So angry
Y'all
all
are
the time.
ridiculous. Get off my lawn.
He would get so frustrated with Pooh, like, why? And I love Pooh. Everybody loves Pooh. I love Pooh. Pooh was forever unbothered, even though he said "oh bother" all the time.
All the time, right? Which is the irony of that. So was there a point in Winnie the Pooh where he pulled out a shotgun, right? Because somebody came to the door. It was something that was crazy. Because I saw a meme and it was like, y'all remember that time where Pooh pulled out the Thule? And I was like,
Yes. Yep. But it wasn't a real one. It was a toy one. It had a little cork in the end with the string on it.
oh man, like just pop out and the court,
Yeah.
man. What kind of life? Come on, man.
Because
You can't
I
do
think
that
he
with
was
that.
afraid of like heffalumps and woozles or something.
Heffalumps and woozles.
Remember that was like what they were afraid of in the 100-Acre Wood. They were
Right.
always so scary stories about the heffalumps and woozles that would come and eat them or something.
Yeah. So now, as far as Ninja Turtles, I gotta ask you, man. What's your favorite Ninja Turtles movie?
Okay. From all of them, are we counting animated ones too?
Ooh.
I don't think no. Let's not count animated ones because I don't think I've seen all of them.
Okay.
Um.
Ooh, that's another tier list too. Ninja
Which
Turtles
one was
movies.
Secret of the Ooze? That was the second one,
2.
right?
That was 2.
That's my favorite one.
Yo, okay. All right. I feel like we really didn't know each other in our past lives. I feel like that because 2 is my favorite one. I like Kino. I like them dancing on stage with Vanilla Ice.
Yep.
And my favorite part was Ralph when he back kicked Foot Clan dude in the head and he topped back up and he started dancing. And like as a kid, when I watched that, I mimicked that. I always rewind to that point and I always act that point out. and I did it at least 5 or 6 times before I even finished the movie.
Mhm.
That was like one of my favorite childhood memories. So 2 is my favorite one for sure. It was
Yeah.
like, yeah, man, it's quiet. Yeah, a little too quiet. I was like, yo, that's Ralph. Yeah, a little too Ralph. Like Mikey, man, it's great. But yeah, so Tournament Fighters came out in 1993. Tournament Fighters, and NES, SNES. Actually, it was on NES too. Actually,
So didn't Ninja Turtles originally come out in like 80? Was it 87?
I know the cartoon came out in 89.
Okay.
89, 89, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. So don't crucify me, Geek Corner. But yeah, I want to say it came out in 89. And a lot of people think it came out in the 90s, but it didn't.
I'm looking at. They have it as 84. Wait. No, you're right. Okay, so the television series was 1987 through 96. And then they had Next Mutation 97 through 98.
Mm-hmm.
And then I guess this Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or reboot in 2003 through it ran a while. 2003
Gem.
2009.
Gem. That is a gem, Vivo.
Oh yeah,
Please
okay,
tell
yep.
me.
I remember
Yep.
this one.
Yep.
I like this one.
I like how the Shredder look, man. I'm like, I want to cosplay Shredder so bad. That would be
And then they had one
that
in
particular look, though.
2012. Was this the one where it was like all CGI?
Yeah. It
And
was.
The newest one is Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And this is that new animation, the newest animation.
Yeah.
I actually want to watch this one.
You know, I was gatekeeping for nostalgic purposes, but I did catch a couple episodes of that, and it's really not that bad. It's really not that bad because the spin is that Ralph is the leader. He starts out being the leader.
Interesting.
And I think Ralph is the oldest, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's what it is.
I thought Leo was the oldest.
Yeah, I think because he was the oldest or the strongest, or one of the two. It was something crazy, but not too crazy. But Ralph was definitely the leader first.
That's interesting because when you think about it, it's been said that Master Splinter gave each of the turtles their weapons for a specific reason, to help work on specific qualities.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, for example, Leo had the dual katanas for because he needed, as the leader, he had to, I guess, understand the value of life and when it would be necessary in order to take a life. Whereas Raph was given the sais, which are primarily a defense.
Yeah.
A weapon of defense. Mikey was given the nunchucks, which require unmatched focus and technique in order to wield them effectively, because everybody knows Mikey. He's probably the most unfocused one of them outside fighting. And then Donatello had the bow staff, because it was so simplistic, whereas, he's typically the tech savvy one who's all about gizmos and gadgets.
And I think they touched on that in this series too.
Okay.
Why they chose the weapons that they chose and stuff like that. Also, you see their evolution. I didn't finish it, but it's actually pretty good though. I cannot crap on it.
Do you remember? So there was the live action show, where they introduced their long lost sister named, I think her name was Venus de Milo. She was named after Venus de Milo. Her name was Venus.
Oh, so that was Next Mutation, if I'm not mistaken.
In the live action?
Yep.
show?
The series? Yeah. I think
okay.
Because they did a crossover with the Power Rangers at one point.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I remember that. Yep. And going back on it, I don't know if I can watch it No, I don't know. That live action was kind of
Well,
terrible.
then there's a new female Ninja Turtle. Granted, she was, I forgot what her name was, but she was a former, if I remember correctly, she's a former Foot Clan soldier.
Mm-hmm.
That in order to save her, they had to do a blood transfusion. And I can't remember which turtle donated his blood, but that blood donation caused her to mutate into a turtle.
Oh yeah.
It looks super interesting. I have to go back and I don't know if it's in any of the animated shows or it's specifically in the graphic novels. I think it might just be in the graphic novels, but I'll figure that out because it was interesting to me.
That's actually dope. I'm very, very intrigued by that. And the next fighting game we're going to look at is something that was for the Neo Geo. Now, those of us don't remember the Neo Geo. Neo Geo came out in the 90s, and it was the perfect arcade port. And it was notorious for fighting games. Like, notorious. Fatal Fury, Samurai Showdown, King of Fighters, Last Blade 2, Kazuna Encounter, and I'm known drawing some blanks with some games, and this is one of them, King of the Monsters. So who was your main in this one?
You know what? I don't even remember.
I do remember playing this game because you were kaiju, and you was literally destroying things. Like if you really noticed, like the hangar base and stuff like that, it was getting destroyed as you're fighting other monsters.
Destruction and contamination. easily.
But what's so funny?
That reminds me of another game that probably isn't on our list, but I'm sorry.
Oh, what's the game? What you got?
What? Oh my God, what was it called? So you played as kaiju, and you would wreck. Like the object of the game was to wreck buildings and eat people, and then I think you could fight each other.
I think that is King of the Monsters still. Also, like while you're thinking about it, one unique thing about this is that the city was your big wrestling ring. So there was only a certain area that you couldn't get to. Like for instance, like right now. So like when they go up against the side, it'll bounce them back. Like it's a rope or something. So it's almost like the humans block a certain part of the city out so they can fight. And even though there are some humans there getting destroyed there, but I guess they're expendable at this point. So I'm guessing they're like televising the kaiju fight. I'm just my guess. I'm just throwing darts out there, but I'm trying to make logical reason of a wrestling ring or some type of cage fighting situation with the King of the Monsters. But I did play this game a little bit. And when the Neo Geo came out, it was going to compete with Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo. Mm-hmm. But here's the thing, though. When Sega came out, it was an affordable price to get a Sega Genesis, right? Super Nintendo came out, affordable price. Expensive, yes. Affordable, yes. Neo Geo came out and said, listen, they are 16-bit. We are 24-bit. We are a direct arcade port of these games. So if you go to the arcade and you have a literal arcade in your house, you had 2 joysticks and stuff like that. And the Neo Geo was like over $400. Like out the gate. And each game was the same price as a Sega Genesis. Per game. That's what it was.
I have the game name.
What's the game name?
Rampage.
Yeah. Oh, because they did a movie with Dwayne Johnson. Okay.
Oh, I completely forgot that. Okay, yep.
Yeah, Rampage. Okay, you're right about that. Was that a fighting game though?
I thought that you could fight against each other. So it looks like the original game came out in 86, but I remember playing it on N64.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure that you could fight each other. In addition to generally destroying buildings and eating people.
You know what? I haven't sat and watched Rampage at all, but I heard it was pretty decent. Though I haven't heard anything bad about it.
That was the one where it was like The Rock was friends with the giant gorilla, and the giant gorilla went and say, I know I saw that one.
You sounded disinterested.
Anything at this point.
Yeah, I mean, he is one of the highest paid, if not the highest paid actor in Hollywood, you know, currently. But I mean, so with King of the Monsters, I think that'll be a very fun game to play. I think this could be a easy remaster.
Yeah.
Nothing too expensive to make. Now, if you really want to go balls to the wall with it, you can definitely make it. I feel like Capcom should pick this up, but I want to see when this game actually was released. King of the Monsters were released in arcades in 1991.
Okay.
Then it was on Linux, Macintosh, Microsoft Windows, Neo Geo AES, Sega Genesis, and Super NES. But graphically, Neo Geo looked better because it was a direct port. So 91, and the most recent PC was 2017.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it might be in the SNK Arcade Classics Volume 1, but I feel like this could be an easy remake. I feel a lot of people can play it. I feel like this could be a good party game.
Yeah.
And have the same setting too. Like just tanks running around, just I guess trying to, because they shoot at you too. So you take damage from them.
Yeah.
That's the thing. So you're not just fighting the other kaiju, you actually trying to duck and dodge humans too. So I think that was a very cool factor in this game. So very underrated. One of the better Neo Geo games. So have you played this a lot?
Not this one.
But I have, along with like Last Blade and Samurai Showdown, one of the many Samurai Showdowns that they had. But I would, if it wasn't for the most recent release of Samurai Showdown, I would, because it's not too recent, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I would put Samurai Showdown in the list too, but can't say it's forgotten because it's still there. So the next game up is something that I could say is one of my favorite wrestling games of all time, and it is considered a fighting game. I would consider it, and it's called Saturday Night Slam Masters. Man, listen. I don't know.
Oh, I remember this one.
Tell me you had this.
I didn't have it, but I remember it.
And this actually had a sequel too. And during the era of like arcade wrestling games and stuff like that, I think I really did like Capcom's version of this one. And I don't know what it is with Super Nintendo and Capcom, but they always made big sprites. Like you can see them visually. They were visually appealing.
Yeah.
And considering this was not WWE, this was not WCW, this was not any of the mainstream, this was just made up, Capcom characters. Game was just awesome.
Did this initially come out as an arcade game?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so Saturday Night Slam Masters, man, that was a gem to me. Absolutely love that game. And I bought a handheld retro game system where it had like thousands of games on it. Well, Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, you name it. Saturday Night Slam Masters was on there. And there's also a Saturday Night Slam Masters 2. And when I saw it, I geeked. When I saw it, I was like, oh man, that was like really one of the only wrestling games that I used to play. And I wish they do a remaster of this. I know you got WWE 2K series and AEW got a wrestling game coming out called Fight Forever, which I can ask. You play SmackDown, Here Comes the Pain, Know Your Role, and stuff like that, right? From back in the day?
Not in depth, but I've played it.
So, Ukes, specific, the ones that made those games from back in the day, PlayStation 1, they went over to AEW and they are working on AEW Fight Forever that comes out later on this month. So their play style from back in the day will be the play style on that wrestling game.
Oh, that's...
And they already showed... Yeah, I'm like, oh, this is what we want, because they were focusing on the arcade part of it, less of the simulation, because with WWE 2K series, it went from SmackDown versus Raw and all the other old wrestling games to simulation style. And even though that's still fun, but you kind of want the over the top type of vibe to it, kind of like Saturday Night Slam Masters. I feel like Saturday Night Slam Masters need a remaster where you can actually play that online.
Yeah, with other people, that would be cool.
That'd be cool. You could do like tag matches and stuff like that. And it was on arcade, Sega Genesis, Super Nintendo, and it came out in 1993. And Reign of Destruction was the actual sequel, and they came out in 1994. And there was another one called Muscle Bomber Duo Ultimate Team Battle, and I think that was Japan only. I think that's what it was. But one of the best wrestling games of all time, man. I know I got to pause the music right quick. I got to take you down memory lane though. I got to take you here. I got to share. Whenever I got this sound, I knew it's about to be somebody gonna get their ass beat. That's just what it was. Hold on. They should have this logo still. They should have this logo still. I mean, that was like the best Capcom intro out of all of them, because I mean, you had, what was it? You had the Versus series. You had Street Fighter Alpha series, which was kind of like stemmed from Marvel vs. Capcom and stuff like that. So everything was like bright and colorful, and the fighting games was just on point. Street Fighter Alpha 2, I used to play religiously a lot, and I used to make people put down the controller when I had Akuma. It's just
they were like, you know what? I don't even want to play this anymore.
Because I figured it out though, because when you hit the ground, all I got to do is time it just right. When I hit the Raging Demon, so the minute that you get up, you're right in front of my face, and I just grab you and the screen turn black. And then you get the symbol. And that, they didn't like that. They didn't like that at all. Like, yeah, I'm gonna go do something else. So the next game up is something that I played religiously, and I chose this one as it's Battle Arena Toshinden, but the intro is Battle Arena Toshinden 4, and mainly because of the anime intro. But I had Battle Arena Toshinden for the PlayStation, and let me tell you, I have a fond memory. I got this game from a friend, and you remember when you just get PlayStation discs, they always got the little scratches on it,
Yeah.
And I was like, this game's not gonna play. Like, there's no way. The eye is too sensitive for this. And it played. And I think that was one of the first PlayStation 1 games that I ever had in my possession. Excuse me, that and Jet Moto and Battle Arena Toshinden was like the first one. So if you're familiar with Soul Calibur, Soul Edge, and stuff like that, this was the first 3D weapons fighter, but it didn't play like Soul Calibur though. Like, I feel like this right here needs to be remade. Like, this has to come back, because if you take Street Fighter and Soul Calibur 2 and mix them together, you'll get Battle Arena Toshinden, because it was fast paced. Everybody had this certain movesets. Like, with Soul Calibur, you got like Soul Edge, and you start glowing and stuff like that. With Battle Arena Toshinden, it wasn't like that. Like, everybody had their own movesets. Like, it was just Street Fighter, Soul Calibur, and the button combinations was the same. But I really did love it.
Sometimes when these games have the anime intros, I'm just like, I want to see the anime now.
Right.
Where's the rest?
But wait.
No, even how when you're like scrolling on social media or whatever, and like you'll see the like the, what are they called, the MMO games or whatever,
Yeah.
with the cool anime cutscenes, and you're just like, oh, this looks like an awesome anime, and then you look and you're like, oh, it's a game. But I want to. What about the anime?
You know what got me like that? Guilty Gear. Guilty Gear got me like that. It got me like that because I
saw that. Yep, that one got me too. I was like, oh, I was like in the comments trying to figure out. So when does this come out? And everybody was like, no, guys, it's a game. And I was like, oh.
Basura, trash. And so I'll never forget how I got finessed. Guilty Gear X2 Reload came out for original Xbox, and I bought it. The intro, fire, and it even had another anime, short movie on the game, right? And so I kept looking at it. I was like, Google, is this anime? Where's the anime? YouTube, where's the anime? Where is this? Because this thing is this heat. There's no anime for Guilty Gear. I was like, I'm gonna play the game. The game was fire too, and it was anime sprites and stuff like that. So I really did like that. But still, man, it needs to be an anime for Guilty Gear, right? I mean, the story is highly convoluted. You got to simplify that thing just a little bit, though.
Yeah.
And it's just all over the place. Blaze Blue got me like that for a period, but they did an anime for Blaze Blue, and it's on Crunchyroll. I did that. Now, for this one here, there is a Ballerina Toshinden anime. You can find that on YouTube, by the way.
Sweet.
So, yes, they actually followed through and did an anime for that kick-ass anime cutscene. Now, I will say it's a little graphic or whatever, but it was pretty decent for what it was.
Cool, I'm gonna look it up. Because it gave me, I mean, the animation in the intro was like, it gave me Outlaw Star vibes.
Yeah. And the first game came out in Japan, 1995, New Year's Day. It was released New Year's Day. And September 9th is when we got the North American version. And it was PlayStation, Sega Saturn, MS-DOS, and Game Boy.
Oh, okay.
And so Ballerina Toshinden was the first 3D weapons fighter and was succeeded in spirit by Soul Edge and other games of the genre. But I feel like Ballerina Toshinden had better characters to me. I feel like this should have kept going. Like this needs to come back. And Digital Dialect was the Tamsoft. Ashley was the developer for this. And I feel like Ballerina Toshinden should have like a collector's edition. Again, I feel like it should have like a remaster of some sort because I feel like the story is really good for the games I did have. Now, I'm going to say this, though. When I download a PlayStation emulator, because I'm going to do that like maybe this week, Ballerina Toshinden is definitely on there. And you never played this?
Mm-mm.
Man, missing out on the gym there. Missing out on the gym.
I mean, I need to get an emulator at some point. So I used to have one, which I was really excited about, and I could play all types of games, but the computer that I had it on kind of decided to retire.
Like, cause you see how it's playing right now? Like,
yeah,
that's like Street Fighter-esque type stuff. Like, you can't just that burns me up, man. Why we don't have Ballerina Toshinden? Like, you gotta have Ballerina Toshinden. And I feel like Soul Calibur did kind of decline in popularity a little bit, and maybe it got overshadowed by Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, and Tekken. And
so I would say that Soul Calibur is one of my favorite fighting game franchises. Like anytime I go out, like we go to the arcade, I'm immediately going to find whatever Soul Calibur they have there to play. It's that and Mortal Kombat.
Who's your main in Soul Calibur?
There's so many. Okay, so Talim.
Taki?
The Taki.
Yeah.
And I started playing with Cervantes and Ivy. Just to learn. Cervantes, I like playing as him a lot. He's pretty fun.
Yeah. It just, who's my Killick was one of my mains.
He's a good, yeah.
Taki for sure. I did dabble with Ivy a little bit, and I did pick up the most recent Soul Calibur, and that game is really good, Ashley. I feel like that game is slept on because I don't see it when Evo have their tournaments and stuff like that. Soul Calibur is not really their main stuff. It might be somewhere offshoot or whatever, but Soul Calibur is not up there with the big three. It's not with Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, and Tekken. And
it's a great game.
Yeah, it should be. But I feel like as being part of the LGC, and you are too, we do thoroughly enjoy Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, and Tekken, but we will highly welcome another fighting game. Now, obviously, Fatal Fury is coming out, and King of Fighters is out now, and people have been playing it, but you know, Street Fighter's going to take over for that. It just is what it is. I feel like what Street Fighter did with 6, King of Fighters should have been done, and I feel like I would have put them on the map. But as far as Battle Arena to Shinden, like this, I feel like this could replace Soul Calibur. I feel like Soul Calibur can take a break, and you put Battle Arena to Shinden in there, and you won't be missing anything, and you might get a viable replacement plus more.
So, random question. Yoshimitsu is Soul Calibur, right?
Yeah.
Didn't he
Soul Calibur
make a crossover appearance in another fighting game franchise?
Tekken.
Was it Tekken?
Yeah, he's in every Tekken game, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he's the one who always do this quirky sit down spins, and he still does that.
That was an annoying move, but not as annoying as Voldo.
Yeah, Voldo is. Yeah, he did that weird walk shit. Yeah,
my little brother does that to freak me out.
Does it? He walked towards you?
Yes.
Oh my god.
Like the hands and everything, and I'm just like, get away from me.
That's how you get elbow drop. That's how that happens. that is how that happens. Don't do that in the dark. Like don't do that. Nah, that's not it, man. That is not the way. That is not the way. Not the way, Chief. And the last game that we're jumping into for the Sega Genesis, I played it on the Sega Genesis. I feel like it was, I wouldn't say an answer for Mortal Kombat, but it was definitely Mortal Kombat like, and that is Eternal Champions. Please tell me you played this game.
I played it only a few times.
Yeah. This game is hilariously difficult. Like, I don't think I actually...
Are those handcuffs he's swinging with? Yep.
Yeah, so he got a grappling hook on the side. He got, like, I wouldn't say the brass nuts, but he got the knuckles with the spikes on them. That's why he's, like, you know, crawling on the top of the ceiling and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The character that, I forgot that character's name, but the one with the bow staff, the magic staff, that's the character I used to play with because I always like wizards and stuff like that. So he used alchemy and martial arts, and his cane got a hook on it so he can just like spin it. So there were fatalities in this game too. Like you can knock someone into a fan. The Sega CD version has some, man, I got to see the video of those fatalities, man, because I think these fatalities that Eternal Champions has was worse than the Mortal Kombat ones.
Seriously?
From back in the day, yeah. Yeah.
And those were those fatalities. Whew.
So there was one I just saw today where this person got knocked into this hole, and there was like saws and swords, and it was like doing this number right here. So you literally saw this person fall through, and you just see his skin like kind of like flailing. But then there was a second layer of it, and he fell through that. So I just chopped him up even further. And then the third one, he went through the third set, and then all that was left was the skull. And then it just smashed on the ground. And then there was another one where someone got burned at the stake. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. And someone got fed to a Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Oh.
It was like a whole process of them getting eaten. Yeah, so Eternal Champions was it. Like,
they were like, how do we top Mortal Kombat fatality?
It did fatality wise. I was like, whoa. Mortal Kombat didn't even have this.
Some of the Mortal Kombat fatalities, like from the more recent games, are some of them are like, bro, what?
Yeah. So, okay, so you take that. What Mortal Kombat is now, fatality wise. That what Eternal Champions was in the 16-bit era. Because I feel like if Eternal Champions was to be re-released, that's the type of graphic nature it would go to. But now so the people that never played Eternal Champions, they're gonna think, oh, well, Eternal Champions was just copying from Mortal Kombat. It was its own game. The game was hilariously difficult. Mm-hmm. And I didn't properly give it a chance because I rented it from the movie store and played it, didn't like it. Years later, played again, I have a appreciation for it. And I feel like this game can survive with the right level of marketing, or you can put the Eternal Champions characters in the Mortal Kombat game because
that would be interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, Mortal Kombat has been putting everybody in the game. So what's to stop them? I mean,
Nothing.
you have Freddy Krueger, you have Chucky, you have Predator and the Xenomorph, you have Jason. I could keep naming them because I bought
RoboCop.
RoboCop's in them now.
Yeah, RoboCop and Terminator actually. That was on the most recent one. That was on the most recent one, and RoboCop Fatality.
And I'm immediately going to go buy that. Going to go buy the DLC
because the most recent Mortal Kombat got Terminator, RoboCop, Spawn.
Oh, Spawn.
Yeah, Spawn is in it too. Yes. Yeah, Spawn. I like
new main.
Yeah, Spawn was it. Now Spawn was him. Spawn was him. So this came out in 1993, December 11th. Actually, right on time for Christmas.
Yes.
Right on time for Christmas. Graphically, this thing looks very good. Graphically. So they call them an elaborate stage specific finishing moves called overkills. That's what they call them. They call them overkills. So it says 2 years later, an enhanced version of Eternal Champions Challenge from the Dark Side was released on Sega CD, and the game also spawned 2 spin-off games, Chicago Syndicate and Experts. And there were actually overkill where it didn't put you in real life. It didn't go from the game to real life, but it was like from the game to like a 3D rendered type of fatality type thing. So it was a CGI fatality. That's what it was. It was a CGI fatality. And like these tentacles came out and grabbed you and like pull you into the darkness, and that was the overkill.
Oh.
And I was like, oh,
mysterious.
Very. So it got a 97% as far as Mean Machines. And people called it at least as good as Street Fighter 2. And IGN gave it a 6 out of 10 because it was criticized because it was difficult to learn play mechanics while praising the game's story, training mode, and inner strength meter. Mm-hmm. And it's not likely that many players who never previously heard of the game will have the patience to spend that much time getting to know it. So there was a learning curve with this game, and if you get past that learning curve, it's like that game will be super fun to play. And I enjoyed it at my second time playing around with it. But them kills was over the top. You think it was just regular fighting game, you know, it's a knockout. No, people died in the worst way. And I feel like this could be a movie. This could be a series. I feel like with the right backing and right marketing, you can make it.
Yeah.
It could be like a niche fighting game for sure.
In this day and age, like Hollywood is so busy recycling and rebooting stuff that needs to be rebooted and that doesn't need to be rebooted. It's like, why don't you go to other stuff and, give it a shot?
Yeah.
This would be a prime example of that.
Yeah, I mean, you got nothing to lose with this.
Right.
Like, you really got nothing to lose. So, I gotta show you one of these overkills here. So, when I tell you these overkills was crazy, these overkills are crazy. So that's one. Crazy. And so when you see somebody disappear like that, it's a wrap. It's a wrap for you. Like, I'm like, come on. Like Mortal Kombat was not doing, I mean, they had stuff, but it wasn't. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Yes. You see that, right? Yeah. Wild.
Did he just get? Oh, okay.
Got fed to a lion. Yeah, that was just crazy. That is crazy. But yeah. And Mortal Kombat wasn't doing that. But that was Sega CD though. But I know Eternal Champions has something just as graphic as that. But so out of all these fighting games, what do you want? If you had to pick one franchise to just come back and go to the mainstream, which one would you pick?
Bloody Roar.
I'm kind of torn.
With a refresh, an entire franchise refresh.
That can work. I think it's been gone so long, people. Okay, there are that small group of people that are enthusiasts, so they're gonna like.
They'll know what it is.
They'll know what it is, right?
If they bring it back and remarket it, if they bring it back and remarket it in a different way, I'm sure that, you know, kids of this generation will definitely pick it up.
Yeah. Ooh, I kind of torn, man. There's a lot. Okay, so I said Battle Arena. There's Rival Schools. Bloody Roar. I'm gonna have to say Battle Arena for the main reason you said. If they revisit the story and with the right amount of marketing, I feel like this can be one of the main fighting games, 3D fighting games, and also make it a little bit more graphic, just a little bit, not completely over the top, because the anime is graphic to a fault too, but not overly graphic though, but not like Samurai Showdown, because I feel like Battle Arena is its own entity, and it found a way to get away from like the niche type stuff, but somehow, some way, it just, you know, Soul Calibur just kind of took over, and you know, you got nothing to lose with Bloody Roar or Battle Arena to Shinden. I mean, if it tanks, it tanks, but at least you tried.
Yeah.
And Hudson can sell rights to Bloody Roar, like to maybe Capcom, maybe, or another 3D fighting game company like Namco, Bandai Namco, maybe. But if I had to pick a game that is not on this list, that you've never seen a fighting game for, I said it in a short, Bleach. I want a Bleach 2D fighting game like Dragon Ball Fighters style, like art systems. Like, we have enough characters in Bleach, and the story is technically over manga wise, that you know everybody's Bankai, you know everybody's abilities, you know what they can do, and obviously when the anime drops, you probably want to shed more light on that too. You got enough material. Either that or
probably keep it going for a while too.
Yeah. Either that or another Yu Yu Hakusho game.
Yes. Yes.
Damn, I forgot about that. Oh my gosh, I forgot about that.
I'm still so sad that they... Did I go back and... See, I need to keep a list of all the anime and manga I've watched and read.
Yeah.
Because I know with Yu Yu Hakusho, the anime ended on I don't want to say it ended on a cliffhanger, but it kind of ended quickly, and it was not necessarily the end of the story because the manga kept going on. I forgot why they did it that way.
Yeah.
I mean, but the last arc was cool, but yeah, that would be awesome if they brought that back.
Yu Yu Hakusho, man. Fighting game or Bleach fighting game, man.
Well, aren't they doing a live action Yu Yu Hakusho? Not that I'm excited about it. I just saw a trailer for the live action One Piece, and I'm just like,
they got a trailer out for that?
I saw one.
Oh my god. Okay.
Or it was like a clip or something, and I was just kind of like,
didn't Oda sign off on that?
Sometimes I wish that they would just say no.
Yeah.
I could go on an entire rant about that, but I will not.
I feel like it's low key milk, but you know, it's One Piece. I mean, you can't just this. It's certain things on that anime you just can't do live action. I mean, it's unless you got a high budget.
The last like 6 to 8 episodes, there's no way for that to be duplicated in live action format.
Unless you got a high budget. And I'm talking about American budget.
Not even I don't even think they could do it with CGI.
You could do Dragon Ball with you could do Dragon Ball. Okay, so I feel like you can do a Dragon Ball Z live action movie, and the reason I say that is because I've seen Man of Steel, and I see in the fights in Man of Steel, I'm like, this is how Dragon Ball Z should be choreographed. That can be done with the right budget. Gundam can be done with the right budget. You know, just pick a story and stick to that particular story because Gundam is so, it's an anthology in a sense. But One Piece, that's a very tough sell.
Mm-hmm.
Very tough sell.
Well, they're gonna try, so we'll see.
I mean, they have gotten slightly better with these live action anime adaptations. Full Metal Alchemist wasn't bad.
Did I watch
Rurouni
that?
Kenshin wasn't bad. Rurouni Kenshin, you could actually do Rurouni Kenshin as live action, but they have done it, and it really wasn't that bad, honestly.
I can't remember what the last live action what was it? Okay, I know I did see the Full Metal Alchemist one, and I didn't think it was horrible. But there was another one that I watched, and I was like, didn't they do an Attack on Titan live action?
Yay! Yes, I think they have. Yeah,
I remember. Yeah, okay, so I did see that one, and I don't remember being super impressed with it.
Yeah,
and it confused me more than anything too, because I was like, "What?"
Sometimes anime just need to be anime. Vinland Saga can be a live action. Vinland Saga can definitely be a live action because we seen stuff like that in live action format. So. That can definitely be done.
I'm interested to see this next episode.
I gotta catch up. I'm still on the first season. I'm not even gonna hold you.
You need to get caught up.
Listen, Street Fighter 6 got me in a chokehold. You understand? Like Destiny 2 and Street Fighter 6, and with its most recent release, it got me in a chokehold. Like between that and like researching different things, I was like, it's not enough time in the day. Like I literally got to wake up at 6 a.m. just to pack all that stuff in, and I gotta. Matter of fact, there's a new anime on Netflix. It's I think maybe 6 or 8 episodes. I just started watching it. Is it Yajitora?
Oh, that sounds familiar.
Apparently, aliens came to Earth, took over, and so now they're at the bottom of the food chain type thing.
I still got to get caught up on Dota.
Oh, that's another one. That's another. There's another. I just started watching that. Yakitori. I'm sorry, not Yajitora. Yakitori, Soldiers of Misfortune. That's what it's called.
Did that pop up for me when I logged in?
It should have, because the first episode like 40 minutes.
Okay. I'll have to.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, there's some titles on here that I didn't even realize. And they have the Dragon Prince, the new season is out. I have to finish that. I have to watch that.
So yeah, you got to it's pretty good.
Also, I think I'm going to get back into the Fate Stay Night series. Because I've been seeing too many clips of these fights, so I need to go and actually watch.
Okay.
Where I left off.
And well, I'm gonna definitely do another review of I gotta do a review of Yakitori. But the June issue of Orange Phoenix magazine is coming out, and it's the anniversary issue, and it's gonna be packed with a lot of things. So a lot of stuff to cover. But that's our show for today, and we will be back next week with some more geekdom goodness. Yep. And honestly and truly, I feel like we barely scratched the surface when it comes to these fighting games. Because there's a few other forgotten fighting games that's out there, some little gems that's out there that we're missing. But we definitely cover them. I feel like at some point we can just cover like one game, like just the history of it or whatever the case may be. But definitely jumping into it, and also, we're gonna do live webtoon reads really soon. So cannot wait from that. So, got anything else for the listeners out there, Vievo?
Nope. Just thank you for tuning in, and we hope that you will join us next week.
All right, and we will be back.
Hey, bye, y'all.